Hello and welcome to Six of the Best, the interview series where we show you what's possible using your laptop and Zoom to connect with your clients and to explain what you do to the rest of the world. In our instance, we help companies tell their stories, particularly during the pandemic, using the equipment that's available to you, hence the Zoom interviews. Without further ado, do enjoy today's special guest. I am today with one of my favourite people, Alistair Whyte, who is the proprietor and face of Corporate Jet Investor, and I know lots of you have been attending their town halls and their wonderful events over both in person and now over the lockdown. They've really created a fabulous connecting resource, and Al has promised today that he's going to be as boring as possible for my interview with him for Six of the Best. So Al, without further ado, what is keeping you awake at the moment?
Well, obviously, people getting ill and dying. I'm worried about our business. I'm worried about our customers' businesses. I'm worried about whether schools will stay open. And I do sleep pretty well, and I have definitely since March not been sleeping as well. Also, the other thing which keeps me awake is the cat coming in our bedroom window. Even though we're up one floor, it's its preferred method of coming into our house.
That's a very, very impressive feline, and yes, you're absolutely right. The situation we're in, we're talking in September 2020, the world is having a fear spike alongside the pandemic, which is very understandable. We've got no clarity, hard to be focused on what to do next, which are two important human needs, I think. So on that topic, what's keeping your clients awake now?
I think it's just the uncertainty. It's just how long will this last for? I think we've all got a pretty good idea what's going to happen. You can be really optimistic, and you can be about business jet coming back for airlines, business jet, and I completely agree with that. But until you can travel, until businesses return, I think we've seen a good leisure uptick in Europe this in the summer, but we're not seeing businesses come back. And until you see that return, it's really just this waiting period we've all got. And I think that's a tough period for anyone, like uncertainty. And I also think there's at the moment, a lot of people are feeling that everything's beyond their control.
I absolutely agree. Powerlessness, it's all, I think we have to embrace our powerlessness actually, and then from that, then see what's possible, because everything has changed in a dramatic way that none of us could have ever predicted. And I think you've been at the forefront of conversations prior to the pandemic, and you're at the forefront of the conversations during the pandemic. And what I was really enjoyed the Rev arrow, the revolution arrow that you created as a conversational platform. What we are seeing is lots of new ideas really coming to fruition, I think. And I'd be curious to know what's your take on what trends are we seeing now that will shape the industry for years to come?
That's an easy question. I think it's... So actually, we did this. We came up with the 5 megatrends in January, and one's the environment, and that's clearly going, and that's impacting a lot on the revolution.aero, future of flight things that we cover. And so you've got electric, you've got hydrogen, you've got other new power sources, which is really exciting, and that's without doubt that's great. So the environment's a big one. The other ones we picked up on, one was the age experiences, which isn't great when you can't go anywhere. One was so long ago, I'm going to have to get a copy of the magazine. This was just for BC, before COVID. And I think they're all staying the same. And I think probably those megatrends won't change. You know, we're going to still have an aging workforce. We're still going to have an aging population. It just doesn't feel like it now. And I think the problem with COVID is that we're so focused on almost day to day, aren't you? You know, today's, I have no idea what the day is, but I think we're in September. And today we're hearing stories about London locking down. We're hearing stories about, you know, India having cases. We're seeing the States, you know, starting to come back, but we're seeing France have huge cases. So at the moment, I think it's very hard for people to step back and look at what's going on.
I agree, and I do also feel strongly that it's essential that we try and carve out time to do that, because as you so rightly said, and it was very much a headline topic at CJI in January, your physical event, or February, sorry, the environment. And, you know, also today, while we've got, is London on lockdown, we've got Airbus, is, you know, the carbon neutral news. So, and what I'm hearing all around is this desire for change, that people can actually start implementing diversity of thought, absolute commitment to the environment. And these are things that will not go away also, that are really coming to the forefront in this very difficult time. So I think that really for me, again, to as a lead in to the next question is, here's some trends. What do you think could be possible for the industry as we do come out, as and when we do come out? Because there will come a point when we've got a vaccine. We just don't know when. We all want it to be now. And we're in the waiting room, which is a very hard place to be. But what could...
No one likes being in the doctor's waiting room.
Nobody.
Old magazines. Exactly. Other people who are ill. It's not fun.
Exactly. And if we stop reading the old magazine and get onto our new digital media with what's going on, what could be possible?
Being optimistic. I can do either way. Do you want optimistic or pessimistic?
You be yourself, Al.
I could go either way. Optimistic, I think, massive opportunity for the industry. If you've had so many people who've flown for the first time, some of them won't ever be able to afford it again. Some will. Huge opportunities. Airlines, you know, one of the favourite quotes I had is from an old US aircraft sales guy who went, "If you believe airlines are getting better, you should be worried about business aviation," and they're not. And they're clearly not going to get better for many, many years to come. And so it's a massive opportunity there. And also, you know, whenever you have creative destruction, you know, exciting things can happen and exciting things can come along. And we haven't seen it yet. I think at the moment, people are sort of hunkering down to survive the storm. James Hardy at Rockwell Collins says a thing about, what are you doing to get ready for the tide? Because a lifting tide will raise all boats. You know, when the tide right comes up, well, I've pointed out that if you've got a hole in your boat, it doesn't make any difference. It just means you're further underwater. But I think that's a really optimistic and also, once you've tried business aviation, it's very addictive. It's very hard to let go of it. Pessimistically, this is a huge economic downturn we're going in, and there are going to be many people who have been using business aviation and many companies that will no longer survive. Companies in Chapter 11 don't buy business jets. Although the people who advise them may do at the end of it.
Yeah, I think what for me, from what you've just said there about the boat building, and although you've described you're going through day to day, what you've actually created already out of this, and especially compared to our conversation, 5-6 months ago, right at the beginning, was like, what the hell, what are we all going to do? There you have these wonderful events, and you've got the town halls, you've done 3 now? Have you done the 2 or 3? Two really brilliant, and I've attended both, so I can experience, with the CJI events. So you've already created those. Suppose that we can emerge, you know, well, not suppose, I'll be the optimist. We are going to emerge from the pandemic at some point. What's possible for you now with this learning and the development that you've done during this time?
I think if we'd have gone this time last year, if we'd said to everyone, we're going to be doing, weekly virtual town halls, we're going to be doing virtual conferences, we'd have had no interest. And I think what we'll do is we're going to take some of this, when COVID-19 ends, and hopefully there'll be a short window before COVID-21, where we can get out and have normal conferences and have meetings and get back to that. But I think we'll keep the virtual elements. I think maybe you don't have to come to Miami to join Miami. You won't get exactly the same experience, but you will be able to ask questions when the speaker's on stage. You'll be able to vote in polls, but you won't be able to stand by the swimming pool, at the cocktail in the evening. And I think we'll keep aspects like that going. And I think it's, we'll have, like everyone else, it will have fundamentally changed the way we do business. Whether we're as a company, whether we're all homebound, I don't think so. So we came back 2 weeks ago. It would have been 3 weeks ago, but someone got COVID symptoms having helped move furniture around. He was fine. He got a test. But it was one of those things where we're going, what are we doing? And I think there's a feeling that I think in March, everyone was quite happy to leave the office, and it was quite an exciting break. And I think now the majority of people who work here want to be in the office, and they're actually quite, it's grudgingly we're going, okay, we probably have to leave now in the second wave.
Well, and I think there, you did touch on an important thing, and I'm happy to say, I've been laughing because we're being quite bubbly and jovial, but there's serious topics we're talking about. I
can cry if you want me to.
You, as I say, I
can do a single tear if you want.
I wouldn't dream of dictating how you need to be. But I have been lonely for company in industry. Definitely, I've really missed that connection.
Who have you not missed?
Yeah, well, I'll come and have an omelette with you.
But who have you not missed? Who is the person you're really pleased not to have seen?
Who have I not missed? There isn't anyone. I really enjoy.
Competition answer.
I'll tell you after we stop.
Okay, text it.
Zoe Layden organised an event a couple of weeks ago. It was brilliant to see everybody, and I think when one of the things people have really missed about your events is the huge part of your event is the social, you call it networking, but it really is that one-to-one connection that you're very good at organising. So that it will definitely come back. But what you're saying about the hybrid thing, other industries have been doing this for a while to great success, and it does open up the room to people who wouldn't be able to afford to travel, or more junior members of the team, so that they can learn about the industry. So I think it's a really big opportunity for expanding the message of what we're all about and what goes on. That's me being optimistic. So I've got a last question for you, Al, that this one will call on the kind of the light side of our Whyte. What keeps you, would you share something with us that keeps you uplifted and motivated when it's a really tough day? What would get you?
So I've got loads of things. I've got children, so that works. And just like going and throwing a ball or in the garden with them. I've got a dog who loves having a ball thrown, and so Lou and I take him for long walks. We also moved house last year, pre-COVID, and we've got quite a big garden, and I really, really like chainsawing. Lou hates me doing it, and anyone who joined Corporate GMS to Middle East last week, I actually had a cut on my chin. Not from the chainsaw, from a branch that came back in. When I said branch, a tree stump that came back in. And I really enjoy that. So I actually like being outside, and we live outside London, which is nice. So we have that. So yeah, it's I'm lucky, and I switch off relatively quickly.
I think getting outdoors is a great antidote to all kinds of things, if and when that's possible. I totally agree. Well,
walking, like exercise. Keep going. Swimming, quite like swimming.
Do you go open water swimming?
Little bit. Started.
Brilliant. Where do you go?
River at the bottom of our garden.
Oh, fantastic! Now I've really got river envy. I love it.
It's not really, some of it's not that deep, but
it doesn't matter if you can plunge in the river.
Canoeing.
Yeah.
I've got so much. What can I complain about?
Nothing, which is good. And on
I
that
can.
note,
I'll do that now. Don't we do that in the next question?
on that note, it's been wonderful speaking to the uplifting, positive and upbeat Mr. Alistair Whyte. And do keep checking the Corporate Jet Investor website, check for the events and the town halls, go and check them out because they're absolutely brilliant. And Al, thank you so much for giving me some time today.
Thanks. I've been the worst one you've done so far.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
I hope you enjoyed that expert insight on the industry and what's happening today. If you want to have more information on how we can help you to tell your story, go to www.GearUp.tv. Thank you very much for watching.